Hey, it's Yvette. You might be thinking we're in a different place and a different time, and you're right. I am in Edinburgh right now. I'm actually on a month-long tour sort of thing where I am just doing sort of shows around Europe, you could say, because that's what's happening. So that's what I'll say. And if you didn't know that by now, then I have not been doing a very good job promoting my whereabouts. And I hope that if you live in any of the cities that I'm in, you knew so you could come if you wanted to. No pressure. But we have fun. Anyway, so I was in Dublin last week and then Manchester this past weekend. And if you were at either or any of those shows, thank you. Thanks for coming. They were a lot of fun. I learned a lot. I'm having sort of culture shock because I keep eating fried food. So I don't know if that's like impacted my brain at all yet. But since I got to Edinburgh, I found a Pilates class that I've been doing sort of a lot of. So I am better than you. And that's why I'm saying that. Anyway, yeah. So it's been like an interesting trip so far. I guess I've been gone for like a week and a half almost. And so the sort of schedule of the trip, well, first of all, let me say this. The reason why I'm doing a little webcam lo-fi version of this is because I don't know. I was thinking about doing like advanced episodes and then like playing them while I was gone. And then I was like, but that's no fun. Like I want to like keep everybody up to date. I love this little, like, I love what we're doing. You know, I love this like relationship we have. And also I'm like, I'm going to have all these revelations while I'm traveling. And I would like to keep you abreast of them because that's so important. The only thing that's going to change though, while I'm here is that I'm not going to do any interviews probably. Unless anyone wants to come into my hotel bedroom, which kind of makes me sound like Harvey Weinstein. So hopefully not. Hopefully not in that way, but maybe in a different way. Maybe I can like set up some chairs and stuff. Anyway, things are great. I'm very happy to be here. Traveling's really tiring. Did you know that? And it's such a dumb thing to say because that's sort of like why we're here on this earth is to like do things like go on vacation. And like enjoy ourselves and like eat good food and stuff. But I know that this sounds awful and I am awful if you didn't know already. If I have to choose another restaurant, I'm going to lose my mind. Like that's the one thing that really gets to me when I'm like on the road is like every time you have to figure out where you're going to eat. Because you don't know anything. You don't have like a list, you know? And like, it's just like every meal, you have to like figure out what to do. And I'm just like, so anyway, I've been eating a lot of hotel meals in Edinburgh, which feels wrong because you're not supposed to do that. But they've been delicious and reliable. And I just walked downstairs. So sorry. The other hack for when you're traveling is Uber Eats. Uber Eats to your hotel. You didn't know you could do that? You can. You can, and it's electric. And then you can eat your curry, which is what I did last night. I got Indian food and I ate it in my bed. I didn't even spill, probably. We'll find out. I haven't looked very hard. But it's gross. No, it's so gross. I would never do that at home. Also, like, I'm not like spilling, okay? I'm generally neat. So I'm not like making a huge mess for the people who work here. Okay, God, I'm going to get canceled for all this. Hey. So, okay, the other background and the important thing that I want to say about this because of what I want to talk about today. So I went to Dublin and I was doing this like festival in Dublin, which was so much fun. It was kind of like a music festival setup. Like there was no music. I mean, there was like music playing on speaker. You got it. It wasn't like a live music concert, but it felt like a live music concert in that there were like multiple tents and there was comedy happening in all the tents. And then there were sort of like food trucks and bars and stuff like in the center of this like park. And it was so cool. I've never seen anything like that. I don't know of anything that's that cohesive. Like a lot of comedy festivals are super fun, but they're just like very decentralized. There's like a lot of different like like New York Comedy Festival is just like in every venue in New York, like from the Beacon Theater to Union Hall, like or a bar show, like it's just everywhere. So it was just very, very cool to be like bouncing around and hanging out on this like lineup. And also everyone is so nice in Dublin. Actually, people are really nice when you leave New York. Oopsie. Which is kind of an adjustment because I'm not very nice isn't like my go-to. I just so it's just not, it's like that's crazy. People are just like very helpful and like going out of their way to be super kind. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what do you want? And they're like, what? And I'm like, what? Anyway, so New York has destroyed my brain, but it's nice to have that reset for sure. But anyway, so when I had Dublin on my calendar, like on my website, my mom looked at my website and texted me and she goes, hey, oh my God, you're going to Dublin? And I was like, yes. And she goes, I've never been to Dublin. And I said, get your ass on a plane. Let's go together. So my mom ended up meeting me in Dublin, and I had about a week between, or not like a full week, but almost a week between my shows in Dublin and my show in Manchester. So me and my mom kind of just did like a little Ireland vacation, which was so cute and so fun. And I'm 29. Like I haven't had that much one-on-one time with my mom, maybe ever. Like I can't even think. We went on vacation once when I was like 24 together, like right after COVID maybe. And that was really fun. But even that, like we did like a hiking group together. So it was really interesting, just like so much one-on-one time with her. And this is a thing that happens when you get older in your 20s. I mean, okay, here's something I've always said. Every year of your 20s is exponential growth. It's like, I don't even know who I was at 22 because at 23, she was already gone. Like it was just, and then every year since, I think it's like sort of plateauing now, but it is just like learning, growing. It's like, in your teens, you have like a physical puberty, and then in your 20s, you have a mental puberty, and it's so painful and it's so awkward. And like, I'm making so many mistakes, and like, I'm just like, I mean, I went from like begging for male approval to like begging for it differently. And, and I think I'm like finally at a point in my life where I feel like I have like a little bit of self-respect, not like a lot. Of course, you know that because you know me, but just enough to sort of just like get me through the day. But that's neither here nor there. The point is that like when you're growing up, especially in 20s, and now I'm at the end of my 20s, don't tell anyone that. I'm like, my relationship with my parents is evolving very rapidly, as I think everyone's relationship with their parents does. And they're like treating me like a peer more, which is true. And yes. But also it's just like, it's just such an interesting new dynamic. So like when my mom came to Dublin, like of course like she's my mom, so like historically she's like doing all the planning, like doing all the whatever, and she's obviously did most of that with this because like I'm still her child. But then we were like out and about, like learning about your mom as an adult and not like in the context of like she's in charge of you is so funny. It's so funny because my mom, first of all, my mom specifically is hilarious, but she doesn't like know that she's hilarious. She's just like accidentally hilarious. She has a lot of trouble with accents, and she really, really wants to be respectful of like local cultures. But we were in Ireland. Like people are very familiar with American culture. Like there's a lot of American media that's like making it over, that's like the cultural hub of like all of like pretty much a lot of English speaking countries, like maybe all, but anyway, chime in if you disagree. But there's obviously a lot of cultural exchange. Like nothing that Americans are doing is like surprising. I mean, the only thing is that everyone hates Americans. So just know that because of like who we elected and stuff. So just remember that it's way worse than it ever was. So just if there was any question, I'm here to tell you that. Like even to the point where like when I got on stage on one of my shows, the host was like, "Do you want me to like not say that you're American? Like I can say you're Canadian." And I was like, because he was like, they just hate you. And I was like, I mean, I'm not going to lie. Hopefully I can just like claw myself out of that sooner rather than later. But isn't that crazy? Anyway, it's important to travel to learn these things and feel more helpless about your state of your union. But anyway, so it was very fun to travel with my mom. I'm just going to give you like a rundown of all the highlights of like just sort of like what I learned about her now that I'm an adult and she's an adult and that dynamic has shifted. Okay, first of all, she and I were talking very openly about my childhood. Crazy. That's crazy. That's not something that I even recommend. I don't think that anyone should do that. Sorry, my feet are falling asleep. I was sitting on them. Don't do that. Don't have a debrief with your parents about your childhood. Like that's information nobody needs to know. And I don't know, there's been some stuff happening in my family, so it just like came up organically, and there's some stuff that I felt like I had to say. But if you can avoid it, yeah, just leave that in the past. You guys are who you are now. Everybody makes mistakes. I think my childhood was on the whole like pretty perfect. Like you really can't, there's gonna be something. Everyone has something. I think my thing was probably like the best case scenario of any of the bad things that can happen to you. It was bad enough that I obviously am a comedian now, so of course it wasn't immaculate perfect, but because I am fighting for validation and male approval constantly still. That's my cross to bear. But I will say it was upsetting to talk openly with my mother about that. But maybe there's growth on the other side, and maybe I can like release it and she can release it. Psycho. Horrible. Perfect. The other thing is my mom's hilarious, as I mentioned, and she does not intend to be whatsoever. She like was trying to pronounce everything in an Irish accent so that people would understand her. So I want to clarify, we're all speaking English. And sometimes the Irish accent's a little thick, but like I said, everyone's like watching American TV and movies and like listening to American music. They're no strangers to the American accent. Like every so often you can make like a really niche reference and they'll be like, what is that? Like I kept trying to talk about Aritzia and no one knew what I was talking about, but like obviously Aritzia is my culture, so I had to inform them. But beyond that, like pretty much everything is well defined and understood. Like my mom, when we were ordering at restaurants, like she said we were trying to get like breakfast one day and we're at this like coffee shop and they had like pastries and coffee, and she like goes up to the cashier and she's like, "Can I have a cappuccino?" And I was like, what accent is that? I think she was, and then we were talking about it after and she was like, well, you know, like even in New York, I do that. And I was like, you what? And she was like, yeah, because like, you know, in New York, sometimes I order and like the barista that I go to is from Spain. So I thought that he would understand better if I like said it like in Italian. I'm like, well, good thing you're not speaking Italian because that's not even Italian. That's not even anything. I don't know what you're doing. You sound like you're having a stroke. I think everyone's worried about you. So that's awesome. She also like literally for the life of her couldn't navigate or she's also like, okay, the other thing is that you notice different things that you see in yourself when you're like with your parents. Like my mom is like such a planner and she like needs everything to be like perfect. Not like perfect, but she just like needs to know what's going on. Like she needs like a reservation. She needs, and I'm like more, my life is just so crazy and spontaneous at this point because like I feel like I'm always getting pulled into something like last minute, like whether it's like a brand thing or like a comedy show or like film this sketch with me, and then I just have to like drop everything and go do it. So I like don't even make plans really anymore, which makes me really easy to be around and fun to hang out with, and a consistent, reliable friend. But anyway, so I'm just like so out of that mindset, and my mom was just like freaking out about it and just like needed to know where everything was. And I was like, well, we're just gonna show up and like figure it out. We've never been here before, so that's what it's gonna be. But also it was really fun because like when you're with your parents, if you like them, even like the little differences are so insignificant compared to like the similarities. Like there were days, I think we had like regularly we had 3-hour dinners. And we were spending all day together all the time just talking nonstop, like yap, yap, yap. And then like we were literally like sitting at dinner together, and I like looked down at my watch and I was like, we've been here for 3 hours and no one's in this restaurant anymore. We have to leave. It's because that's my yap sister. That's my yap queen. That's my yap origin story. And we're just getting into it. Also, at one of those dinners, like we were laughing so hard when we sat down. I don't even remember, like it was one of those things where like it wouldn't be funny to anyone but us. But that is like the best laugh you can have is like with a family member. But so we were like cry, like I literally couldn't breathe. I was laughing so hard. And then all of a sudden my mom kind of like gets it together. And like the next day and I just didn't really think of it. I was just like, okay, yeah, she just like is done with the joke, I guess. So we like just have like a normal rest of the dinner. And then the next day we were talking about it, and she was like, I stopped laughing yesterday because I was worried that everyone would think that we were high. And I was like, what? And she was like, I just didn't want them and the other people in the restaurant to think that we were on drugs because we were laughing so hard. I was like, but we weren't on drugs. We were just laughing. We were high on life. And she was like, I just thought. And I was like, that's like the sick in the head that I am. Like I can't even, like she's, how do you even think of that? And what would that even mean? Like, oh, so what? We're laughing so hard everyone would think we're high. So what? I love her. She's nuts. In some ways more nuts than me. Also, the world is made for young people. There was I know I'm not supposed to talk about this, but like Louis C.K. had a new comedy special, and one of the things that he mentioned almost like offhandedly in the special that I thought was actually like really poignant was that like the world is made, you figure out how to navigate the world, and then all of a sudden it changes, and the thing that you're good at is no longer relevant. And then his joke was like, I'm really good at not seeming gay. And like, whatever, watch the special to get the full effect, or don't if you're morally opposed, do whatever you want. But I thought that was so funny and so true. And then seeing it with my mom, I was like, I mean, like, I had to explain to her that like Ubers are just as good as taxis, or maybe even better, because you just like, you know what it's going to cost, and there's like ratings and stuff. I was like, you can Uber. Like it didn't occur to her that you could Uber places. Just like little things like that. And I was like, damn. Like when I'm my mom's age, I mean, my kids are going to be like on their skibbity-doo bullshit and like taking like, well, actually, there might be an AI apocalypse. So it actually might not be relevant. But then I won't be able to navigate the AI apocalypse. I'll need to rely on my children for that. So yeah, it just felt like odd in some ways, eye-opening in some ways. Also, one revelation I had was the more that you love somebody, the more you're aware of your own and their mortality. And isn't that something? Like, when I'm with someone that I'm gonna cry saying this. Is this a comedy podcast? I don't even know what's happening. This is just such a brain dump. I'm alone. I've been alone. I haven't spoken to anyone today. Just you. Like, I'm at the point where, like, I'm so aware that everything ends that maybe more than I need to be. But like, when I am with someone that I like really love, like my mother or my like childhood friends, like the people that I've like built my life with, and then like the newer people that I just like so deeply, deeply care about. And when you have these like exceptional, like once in a lifetime moments, like I don't know how many more times I'm gonna go. Like having like a one-on-one trip with your mother is like such a unique thing, especially because like she's happily married to my dad still, and like in spite of everything. No, my dad's amazing, but it's like, you know, so it's just more unique because usually like my dad would be there, and I actually really missed him. Crazy. I like would have liked for him to be there. I think next time I go anywhere, I don't want to go without him. I would feel bad. It's just like we're not a complete unit, you know, without him. And then it's also we're like sending pictures back to him. We're like, suck it, bitch. And it's like, at like the first 2 days, you're like, haha. And then the third day, you're like, oh, he should be here though. But anyway, that's all to say that everybody dies. So, unfortunately, one of the thoughts that I had was also, this isn't forever. Nothing is. Because you hit a point where, like, when you like someone, you're like, oh, I'm liking this situation. You can almost be, like, more present. And then sometimes I get into a trap where, like, when I'm, like, I love someone so much and I am starting to think, like, this is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. This is a unique thing that I'm going to have in my life. And then I start to go, and one day everybody dies. And what if there's no God? Can I say that? There are a lot of churches in this city. So, on that note, yay! I had fun. And I'm really glad my mom was able to come. I'm really glad that I got to do my favorite thing, which is relentlessly tease her and make her question herself. Because that is my job as her daughter, is to make fun of the way that she says the word cappuccino. Cappuccino. Like, who is that helping? She also said basil is basil. I almost like, I feel like I wrote down some stuff. Maybe I don't know if I wrote down any more because it started getting so funny to me. And it might not even be funny to you. I just thought it was so good. Oh my God, I forgot about this. There was one day, like my mom's just like, I don't know if she just like stopped caring about social rules or something, but she was just like on one. There was one day we were like in the hotel lobby and she goes, wow, it smells really good in here. I wonder what that smell is. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe like a can. And I look over and she is face to the banister of the staircase, just full smelling it. And I was like, Mom, we're in public. Sober, by the way. Not a drink or anything in sight. Full face in the... You're a professional woman. Get it together. And then she's like worried about other stuff. Like, what are people going to think? I'm like, what? You smelled a banister to see if the lobby smelled like pine. Like, what are you talking about? She's crazy. I love her. I hope you enjoyed this solo stream of consciousness episode. So I'm going to do a couple more of these while I'm on the road. And if you hate it, let me know, I guess. Or if you have any thoughts or desires, let me know. But I kind of love this webcam thing. It's giving. Check out my website for tour dates. I have a bunch in the fall. So October, November, December is going to be bananas. And tickets have already started moving. So make sure that if I'm going to your city, you buy the tickets because I don't know what's going to happen next. Love you. Goodbye. Mwah.